Hello and welcome once again to Boomer 11 and the Lucknow Super Giants have done it, I would say, to the surprise of a lot of us thought towards the midway of that game, Rajasthan were in complete control, but then it's almost as if they're sitting in the driver's seat, open the driver's side and just launch themselves out, allowing Lucknow to drive it home. I have with me Abel, you reckon pretty obviously it all went to south when Sanju Samson got run out, right? That was probably the
Yeah.
oddest way to throw the match away.
Yeah, I agree completely with you, Jaren, because at that point of stage in the game, right? Let's look at what juncture did it take place. 55 odd needed in 6 overs, 7 overs. And from there on, it was Butler and Sanju Samson who should have ideally taken Rajasthan Royals home. But then Sanju Samson's wicket at that juncture just threw Josh Butler's concentration to an extent because from there on, the pressure was on him to take the team home. And also the guilt of him making Sanju Samson getting run out, right? You don't get your skipper run out and then you feel absolutely confident about it. But with someone of Josh Butler experience, ideally shouldn't, but he did. And that pressure was on Josh Butler, and it was a complete derailment from there on. I also would like to add today's game is something which I really did not see Rajasthan Royals do it because we did expect them to get into this kind of holes time and time again previously, primarily because of entry points of certain batters. Now, if you look at Devdutt Padikkal, his entry point was so wrong today in a chase like this,
Hmm.
when you ideally understand the game situation is gonna be in a point of bother, you should have ideally sent. Maybe you should have not sent Dave the particular at all today to bat. You could have possibly sent
Yeah,
Dhruv Juran, who has been striking the ball perfectly. What you wanted was 2 good overs, maybe 3 hits. 3 boundaries is what separated you at the end of the day. So who was in a better position to do it? Dave the Particle has not been striking the ball well at all. And considering circumstances, the pitch, I still think Dhruv Jurel would have been in better position to strike the ball. And Hetmeyer was a good decision at that point, but maybe Dhruv Jurel should have been coming in to bat right after that, but not Rian Parag or Devdutt Padikkal. Because what happens in these kind of situations is the pressure will be on someone like Devdutt Padikkal because he's highly inexperienced at this point, and there's a lot of pressure on him
yeah.
as well throughout the season if you look at different and variety of factors. So I was personally disappointed with the way how Rajasthan Royals got into that hole. They shouldn't have actually.
I mean, like, fair, exactly, right? I mean, they had what 65 to win or 55. I think that's
Yeah,
when Sanju Samson, or sorry, rather, that's when Josh Butler got out. And even then, you felt like this team had it in them. That's what I felt. Josh Butler also maybe had to play that false shot because of the kind of innings he was playing, 40 or 41.
yeah,
Really dug himself into a hole. Where I really also felt evil was that power play. Power play is like one place which should have really gone all guns blazing. Naveen ul
yeah,
Haq bowled a very good spell, but even then I felt, it was all about upsetting the bowler's length. If you had to take risks, it was the first 6 overs because they knew that this pitch is going to really slow down and
yeah,
make it much difficult. And I think Michael Andrews got it perfectly right. RR definitely choked today, and there's no other way to put it. But let's start breaking things down one by one. Let's start with the first innings. Once again, you felt right in the power play. Lucknow as well did a similar
yeah,
mistake. Did not get going at all. Playing that, I mean, you already spoke about it outside off the camera,
yeah.
but going ahead and playing a maiden over in the power play on a pitch so difficult to bat afterwards, you feel again a cardinal sin which could have really cost them if not for RR's
Yeah.
choking.
I mean, yes, you could have looked if Ara would have won this game. In hindsight, it would have come down to that first over and the number of runs KL Rahul managed to score in that first over. But I think I really won't blame any batters in this kind of a pitch because it was a tough pitch at the end of the day. The ball wasn't coming onto the bat at all. So especially this being the first game of the tournament after what 4 years in Savai Mansingh Stadium, you really had to assess this condition. You really had to find what is an ideal total here and what you have put on to bat. So there was a lot of what do I say? There's a lot of indecisiveness in terms of how you wanted to go about it. So I really don't mind that first over, at least in today's circumstance. If this was another kind of a pitch, maybe I would have been extremely critical about it. But yes, if you look in hindsight, they just got away by a whisker. If Rajasthan Royals would have cleared the line by in the last ball, you would have come down to the last. You would have come down to that first over where KL Rahul played out a maiden over. But then that's typical of KL Rahul these days, isn't it? That he takes that one over to set his eye in, which you shouldn't be doing in T20 cricket, but he's been doing that wherever he's been playing. So but I'll say one thing: Kyle Myers played a very good knock. If you look, in hindsight once again,
Hmm.
because that knock which he played by taking on the ballers, right, that really put them in the back foot. That really did put the RR team in the back foot. Even Ravichandran Ashwin in the mid innings match did say that they considered 10 runs too many, and he was absolutely spot on. They did consider 10
Yeah.
runs too many. And also towards the end, when Marcus Stoinis came and hit a couple of blows, they shouldn't have let that happen. Even Nicholas Puran got an opportunity to strike few. I thought there was some inexperience as well when it comes to how you should have gone to someone like a Marcus Stoinis, which they did not. Jason Holder was not the right person to bowl to Nicholas Puran or Marcus Stoinis at that point of time. Maybe ideally in this game, Jason Holder shouldn't even have played. It should have been Adam Zampa who should have gone about it, because their tactics had worked perfectly till today by playing Adam Zampa, Yuzvendra Chahal, and also Ravichandran Ashwin. And on a wicket like this, I personally think, someone like Adam Zampa would have fit in perfectly into this team, because it was tough to get away from the spinners. Spinners were bowling in a tight line. Or maybe on a pitch like this, if you wanted to go to an Indian seamer, you could have gone for maybe Murugan Ashwin, and then possibly brought an overseas battle with someone like a Donovan Ferreira or someone like a Joe Root. This is the kind of pitch which Joe Root ideally would like to play on. In a
Yeah.
chase like 150, 160 odd, when the run rate is around 7 to 8, he can come in and control the things from one end. But that's one mistake which RR did as well. We often don't talk about RR making a lot of mistakes, but then it happens in IPL. These kind of games, give you a lot of confidence as well. I'd like to talk about pitch and RR's conditions as we move along in the live, because I've got a very interesting take on it.
Very interesting that you say that Joe Root could have been a very good. I was also very interested to see how probably
I like
even someone like
Teju's
Donovan
commentary as
Ferreira.
well.
Yeah, someone like Donovan Ferreira, I think, would have been a perfect player to come in this situation. I felt. But let's take this question up. Death tax scale playing first over maiden. Yeah, I suppose it's true now. You have to really look at it in this way because RR, in high, I mean, you would have to say RR scoring 47 is probably what is an average power play score. I still felt they could have scored another 10 runs more, granted the fact that they're not lost the wicket. In fact, if they scored another 10, 12 in that power play and probably even lost another wicket, 59 for 1 would have had a better reading than 47 for nil, I would say. But then compare that to Lucknow Super Giants, who did not lose any wicket and only got 37 on board. That could have really been their downfall. I have Sandipani with me. Sandipani, what do you think of this comment by Teju right here? Right, very death tax. KL playing the first maiden over is mandatory. So you reckon now KL Rahul is kind of creating that sort of a death tax, so as to say.
Yeah, I think first of all, 155, 154 on this pitch was not a total that should have been defended so easily. Secondly, I think Rajasthan's middle order, once again that conundrum of Devdutt Padikkal at 4, Riyan Parag at 6. I'm sure we'll talk about it in depth. But to start off with, I think KL Rahul maiden over. It's. I think there is nothing wrong with what Teju said, and I think especially since Bolt had made sort of a bunny out of KL Rahul in the last season of the IPL. In general, he has a decent matchup against KL Rahul, Trent Bolt, that is.
Yeah.
But in the last IPL, he just got him of that ripper in the first league. I think they played the 20th match, or the first time the two teams met. KL Rahul got out for a duck. And in the second instance as well, he did not go on to score too many. I mean, he did go on to score too many runs, but not of Trent Bolt. He was struggling against Trent Bolt. So we always knew that was going to be a positive matchup for Rajasthan Royals. They were going to come out with the new ball, trying to get KL Rahul cheaply. And this is not the first game that we have seen both Mayers and KL Rahul play at that pace. I think even in the game against, I think in the last game they were playing at the same pace, but
Yeah.
they just got lucky because they did not get lucky. They lost the last one, but they have been flirting with the borderline of posting totals right now. Just 10 over 70 runs. It looks like the Indian scorecard more than the Lucknow Super Giants scorecard. So without losing wicket,
There
and
is a common factor in both these scorecards, Sandeepani. You can pick the odd one out.
but I think also
Common.
Myers from the other end hasn't done anything out of the ordinary. I think
Yeah.
Quinton de Kock would have been a better call, especially for today. I don't know whether he's unfit or not, but if he is fit, he had a great matchup against
Yeah.
all the bowlers of Rajasthan Royals. He has a tremendous record against Rajasthan Royals. So I think Quinton de Kock coming into this team was what was I think needed for Lucknow Super Giants. But I think they got the win at the end of the day because Rajasthan Royals were the worst team. I think we can't say that LSG were the better team, but we can say that Rajasthan Royals today was the worst team, especially with the bat.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you have to say that Rajasthan had it. They had it in the bag and they just let the cat slip out. As you would say, Nabil also says that LSG are getting way too lucky. I think that's what happened today. It was more of the fact that LSG, I mean, rather Rajasthan Royals let go than LSG really grabbing their opportunities. Thoughts on Avesh Khan is what Devan Madan says. Abel, what do you reckon about Avesh Khan's performance today? Did a decent
Yeah.
job. You reckon 25 runs, 3 wickets, 6.2 actually is a very good. But then again, it does look good for reading. But again, it was a pitch where this is the kind of an average performance, isn't it? So 3 wickets probably very important.
Yeah.
Two of them coming in the
Yeah.
death.
No,
What
two
do
of
you
them
reckon?
coming in the last over as well. Look at the point of those wickets as well. It was an important
Hmm.
last over, and looking at the kind of form Avish Khan was in leading into this IPL and what he's been able to do in this IPL, I'd have to say he's had leaps of improvement from where he was and to what he is at this point of stage, but not exactly what he was in the last season or the season before that. He's still getting to that rhythm. I'm still not completely convinced with what Avish Khan is doing. He's still got miles to go in terms of a complete package of a death bowler. But as he's been able to do a fine enough job, and that's what you need, right? In these kind of games, you need to be able to pick up wickets in the death overs, and you should be able to do a fine job in the middle overs. I think both of these instances he has done it beautifully well. And maybe going ahead, I personally think someone like Avish Khan will only learn with the trade. Put him in all of these tough situations, it's going to definitely come out better. And this kind of pitch really suits Avish Khan, where it's low and slow. If you guys remember, in Sharjah in 2021, Avish and Andre Nokia had a phenomenal IPL bowling on those lower surfaces because they enjoy bowling in these kind of surfaces where Avish Khan can hit the deck and the ball stays low. The moment
Hmm.
Avish Khan's ball sits up on the batters and where they can stay on the back foot, he will be cleared for a lot of runs. And that's one of the reasons why Avish Khan was extremely successful in 2021. And even 2022 to an extent in somewhere like Pune, he did come pretty well because of a very similar kind of surface there. But yeah, on flatter surfaces, Avish Khan can be lined up for. If you remember in the game against Chennai Super Kings, he was lined up for this very reason. He can be lined up. He's very predictable in terms of a lot of reasons. It does not have a impeccable slower ball, or it does not have a slower bouncer for that reckoning. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with his development. He should have been in somewhere else. His development had a stagnation over the last 1 year, but now I really hope it just gets an extra bit of push because Lucknow Super Giants have got an impeccable, extremely good coaching staff behind them. So they will be monitoring his success, his kind of performance. Vijay Dahi has done a very good job overall in terms of the way in which he's gotten this bowling group together. I think Avish Khan working with Vijay Dahiya will only help him to progress even further.
Absolutely. Pretty well said there, Abel. Let's talk about now also, right? The batting that, not Rajasthan Royals, but rather Lucknow Super Giants had. One of
Yeah.
the first things that really irked me today was the fact that Krunal Pandya was sent so low down the order. He was sent as the number 7,
Yeah.
which is very surprising because he's done a decent job for them at number 3, number 4. So to send him ahead of, send him after someone like Ayush Badoni was very shocking. I also felt someone like Marcus Stoinis should have been sent higher up the order. If you want to send someone higher up the order, it was either Kunal Pandya or Marcus Stoinis. So you're trying to keep a left-hand, right-hand combination. Kunal Pandya was the best person to be sent up the order. And if you wanted someone to attack, then you should have sent someone like Marcus Stoinis up the order. Did not work. I couldn't understand why exactly Ayush Badoni went so far up ahead because I still
Yeah.
believe he's not a player who can, to be very frank, his development is really dipping now, if I can say it in that sense, because he isn't the player that we saw in the last season. He's really not been doing what he was packaged to be. Sandipani, what's your call on Krunal Pandya being sent so low down the order, especially because he came in, he had an instant impact.
I'm ecstatic with that call. I think that is one of the decisions that I'll agree with Lucknow Super Giants on today, because I had been asking Krunal Pandya to come lower down the order. 25-27 runs of 20-22 balls coming in at number 3, number 4 is not an impact. But having said that, Ayush Badoni and Deepak Hooda have underperformed to such an extent that you would feel Krunal Pandya could have done a better job in at number 3 or number 4. But once again, I mean, you have a Nicholas Pooran, you have a Marcus Stoinis, you are using them way down the order. I'm not
Yeah.
happy with the fact. I was happy with the fact that Krunal Pandya was demoted down the order, but not happy that Ayush Badoni or Deepak Hooda took their place. I mean, if you have to demote a Krunal Pandya, you should at least get in a Nicholas Pooran or a Marcus Stoinis up the order to have that impact on the game. They are your X factor players. They are going to change the game. And Krunal Pandey, like you said, I mean, instant impact, a 4 of the first delivery. But I think the more number of balls Krunal Pandya faces, the lesser his strike rate goes on to be. So, I mean, 10 of 3, 12 of 4 is
I
understandable.
mean,
Give him
would
20,
you
25 balls, he'll get
would you
30,
rather
32
suggest
max.
someone like Marcus Stoinis coming up the order instead of Ayush
Yeah,
Badoni?
definitely. I don't understand this call from Lucknow Super Giants, especially because Deepak Huda is in no form whatsoever. It was understandable up to a point to send in Deepak Huda at number 3 when he was in the right form. To send in another batter ahead of a Marcus Stoinis or a Nicholas Puran absolutely makes no sense, because you have a Nicholas Puran who was in prime form. Okay, he got a golden duck in the last game, but he scored a 62 of 19 in the game prior to that. So
Yeah.
you have that Nicholas Puran in a form with an average of some 35,
But
36
but
in
you know
this
what?
season.
I kind of disagree with Sandeepani over here, because Ayush Badoni, you have put him as a finisher, right? You've given him the role clarity. This is where I hate teams messing around with role clarity. Why is Ajinkya Rahane become so successful this season? Why have certain players who have come out of nowhere and become so successful with role clarity? It's a 22-year-old guy. You're trying to mess around with his position all around. Either you start him as a number 3 throughout, or not for just one game. That
No, I
doesn't
mean they
really
are
do well.
confused, right, Abel? They are confused. This
Yeah,
just goes on
exactly
to
my
show that the
point.
management is
Exactly my
confused.
point, Sandeepani. So
Yeah.
if you want to play someone like Ayush Badoni, you're telling, okay, you're going to be now number 3 for the entire season, I'm fine with it. But now you're playing him at number 7 every game, and today you're telling him to go at number 3 and do something for us. It doesn't work that way. Maybe today was an occasion where they should have sent ideally Marcus Stoinis on number 3. Today the situation called for Marcus Stoinis number 3 because you needed to take the game on. And even with Rajasthan Royals, I'm absolutely baffled with Devdutt Padikkal being in their team again and again and again and again, and they keep just proving me right that I'm always not wrong in saying that Devdutt Padikkal does not deserve to be playing in the playing 11.
I think
Because
I read a
today,
comment somewhere that Sanju Samson's run out was
yeah,
the
we did
where
talk about that
point
first
where,
up as
We
well. We
did
did
yeah,
talk
but I
speak
about
think
about
it
it.
was Devdutt Padikkal coming in at number 4. That was the turning point in the game.
Yes, it was.
You-
It was. It was. I totally agree with you, because for me, I personally think Devdutt Padikkal is too good a player to be not playing in opening position, but not for this team. Because this team has got two good, well-established openers. Maybe for any other team in IPL right now, he would have absolutely been opening. If you look at Delhi Capitals, he would have been a sure shot opener in that team. But for this team, at least, he shouldn't be opening the batting. If he's not opening the batting, he shouldn't be in the playing 11. And today's game call for someone like Riyan Parag at number 4, or Dhruv Jurel at number 4, even maybe an Ashwin at number 4 for that liking, because it did not really wanted a Devdutt Padikkal. Yes, 21 balls, 26 runs. I know it's a very tough pitch, but it just did not do any
I
justice to
think
the team.
Ashwin would have been a very good call to send in up the order today.
What really baffled me was it was almost as if Rajasthan Royals felt there's some rule in cricket that you cannot change your batting order. At that point in time, Devdutt Padikkal came in number 4. He's been batting in number 4 for a long time, but it was
And
already
Jaren, just to
14
add to
overs
that,
into the
this is
match,
one team
and
who has always tinkered around with the batting order.
Absolutely. So why not send a Dhruv Jurel up the order? Why not send? Why send Devdutt Padikkal? Why not even send someone like a Hetmeyer up the order? I mean, it did not make much of an impact, yes, because Josh Butler got out pretty quickly. But then, such an odd decision to send Devdutt Padikkal up the order as your finisher. He's coming in the 14th over. You sending your finisher. So Devdutt Padikkal was your finisher, and that's such an odd decision to take.
And I think that just sucked the momentum out of Rajasthan Royals innings. You had Butler trying to
Yeah.
take the attack on the bowlers, got out, and then the
And what
downfall
Butler
started.
really needed was someone like Hetmeyer to come in to really take the steam off of him.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
exactly.
ahead,
And
Sandeep.
Hitmaier had been in a great run of form. He won them the last game with contributions from Sanju Samson as well. But he has been in great form. He has been one of the best finishers in the tournament,
I
not
agree.
just for RR. I mean, he has been one of the most consistent finishers in the last
Yeah.
2-3 seasons of the IPL. There is no reason why you should. Okay, I was at least happy that they did not send in a Riyan Parag ahead of a Hitmaier. That would have been further insult to injury. But I think howsoever they went with it, you got the proof, right? You had a Riyan Parag, you had a Devdutt Padikkal playing till the 20th over, and Rajasthan Royals fell 10 runs short. And I
Yeah.
think in today's game, if you needed to send in somebody up the order, it could have even been an Ashwin. You could have even sent in an Ashwin with 60 needed of 7 overs. He could have done a good job with rotating the strike and giving Butler at least the the runs would have come at a free
I
pace.
mean,
That is something
you're
that you
right,
could not
Sandeep. They
expect.
had so many
Yeah.
options, right? They could have sent a Jason Holder, they could have sent Ravichandran Ashwin, they could have sent Dhruv Jurel. I genuinely believe, I mean, even Riyan Parag probably could have done a better job. He has got 2 points, right? 2 points when it comes to strike rate better than Devdutt Padikkal. So any of these batters could have done a better job.
But I think with this, they are just stay making a call. I mean, they're just sending in a statement that Devdutt Padikkal is our number 4. No matter what the situation is, how many runs are required, we'll send him in at number 4. And
Absolutely.
Riyan Parag is our finisher. No matter what you try, he'll come in whenever
But
he
that's my
plays. He'll
favorite
come in
part
as a
about it, eh,
finisher.
with Sandipani. Now, it's no more. It's see, cricket is see in Test cricket or any sport, right? No position is ever fixed. Never a position is fixed. It's always a role that is fixed. It's always what the player is supposed to do that is fixed. Now, I mean, yeah, probably when something is so specialist as a goalkeeper in football or a wicket keeper in cricket, you can say that the position and the role are very
I think Rajasthan Royals
coincident.
just
But
follow with Sangakkara in the helm. I think they just follow Sri Lanka's policy, because right now the only comparison that I can make with Riyan Parag or a Devdutt Padikkal is Danushka Gunatilaka coming day in day out, come in, score 13, go out, like get out, and then play the next game once again. And I think if it would have been any other team in the world apart from Sri Lanka or Rajasthan Royals, I think both Devdutt Padikkal and Riyan Parag would have been shown doors right now, because it's way too many games for the liking of a franchise. Rajasthan Royals has been one of the most consistent franchises over the last 2 years. They made the finals last year, this time as well. But whenever it comes to pressure situations, you see these two players crumble under pressure, and I think it's no excuse to just have them in the team. I think only a extremely tolerant coach like Sangakkara would tolerate this, and I think the Sri
Yeah.
Lankan management would tolerate this. If it would have been India, Pakistan, they would
I
have
love the way
the
how he
career would have
brought
been
in
over.
Danushka Gunatilaka out of nowhere, and he had to put him in an IPL team. This is what Sunny Bunny, if the people he don't like, the teams who don't like, he'll just bring that in your context, and it'll just make you all feel like, yeah, this is exactly
I
ideal
mean, you
comparison.
have you
I
have
mean, that's just
similarities. You can
weird, man.
drop.
I mean, I won't blame Sangakkara for this because they still back Riyan Parag, and today he could have come good. He was looking good. Maybe
Yeah, that
I
that
still
is
think,
exactly what they're hoping. They are as optimistic as you are. I mean, he could have come good. He could have come good in
yeah.
all of the games,
But
but
he
he's
don't get
not
enough
coming good
balls
in
to
any of
face.
the
If he would
games.
have got 21 balls to face, I bet he would have scored more runs than
Definitely,
Devdutt
definitely. Then
Padikkal.
either
Yeah.
put him at the top of the order. It's like the management is saying that we are right. Whatever we have decided is right, and I think we are going
Yeah.
to stick to it, no matter
I
what
mean,
happens. Right?
Teju, I'll tell you one thing, right? When Devdutt Padikkal opened for RCB, just check the scorecards. How much of a pressure it did put on Virat Kohli and ABD Villiers when Devdutt Padikkal was opening for RCB. And I personally thought he was playing a lot of negative impact innings. And let's talk about one game where RCB, if they would have won the game, RCB would have gone to number 2 on the table. But he played a 48 run or 54 ball knock against Sunrisers Hyderabad. And he also had gone to play in the same season 38 or 45, many less than a run a ball knock. So I can say except one knock where he played against Mumbai in 73 or 41 odd in Abu Dhabi, he has played a lot of negative impact knocks for RCB. Maybe on stats might say he has scored a lot of 50s, but none of them have been impactful for RCB, I would say.
Jalen is on mute, I guess.
his dot ball percentage, right? Devdutt Padikkal's dot ball percentage is the biggest issue for him. He is just hacking and slashing most often
Yeah.
than not. I think when Devdutt Padikkal tries to play proper cricketing shots, maybe someone who can try and model the way he plays T20 cricket on how Ajinkya Rahane is playing at this point in time. Ajinkya Rahane had a similar issue where he would get stuck. He would. I just like to let you guys know in the comment section that this is purely sports channel. Let's not take these.
I
That's
don't
the
want to
reason
take
why.
that. I totally agree with you. We're not going to comment on
Yeah,
that. It's
it's
something
it's
of
very
personal.
sensitive. We all have
It's
our
very
opinions
sensitive.
on
I'm
it,
not going to talk about it.
and
I
it's
have my
not the
own
channel.
opinions. If
Not the
I'm going
channel.
to keep it to myself. Yeah, I've got my own opinions
Yeah,
on
if you
that.
please do
I'm going
that.
to keep it to
Please
myself.
do that. Yeah, so it's a sports channel, right? Let's get back to the match. So when we speak about it, right, I think the biggest issue for Devdutt Padikkal is the fact that he is someone who gets stuck. So I think he can try and model himself on the way how Ajinkya Rahane has remodeled his T20 game. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it just seemed like it is here to stay. And if you look at Ajinkya Rahane, what he's doing right, he's playing proper cricketing shots. He's not being aggressive. He's increased. I mean, he's being aggressive, but he's not being overtly aggressive. He's not someone who's playing the way Maxwell does, right? He's not reverse sweeping the ball. He's not helicopter shot. He's not even ramping the ball. What he's doing is doing what he's done before. Just the frequency of his aggressive cricket is what's improved. So I think that's what's going to be very important, very interesting to see how Devdutt Padikkal goes about. Until and unless he doesn't do that, I think he's going to get stuck in this game.
I'm
And
getting very distracted by the comments over here right now. So,
yeah, I mean,
guys, please ask questions on today's match. I don't want to comment on this.
I think after the
Yeah, I
way
mean, if you just
one
see
Sandeep,
thing,
you
the
got an
way
opinion on
Rajasthan played.
this?
No, no, I think the way Rajasthan Royals played today, these are the only comments that we expect from the game because we had nothing to talk about in the game.
Whoa.
Rajasthan Royals with their old issue of
Telling me
getting off.
because Arsenal was played today, they were asking about LGBTQ and they deserve to play in men's cricket.
I mean, they don't have any topic from the game, right? Because you have
I mean,
same
today's
topic,
game with
Devdutt Padikkal
one
coming
game,
in
it
at
could have
number
had
4.
multiple questions coming in. They could
So
have asked about anything else. Guys,
I
ask
just say
about
It's
how did Sanju
there's this
Samson run out
criteria,
to hit the
right?
game. Come on.
There is this criteria called win predictability, I mean, win probability added. And if you look at David Padikkal's innings, it's minus 286 that's added to this innings after, which is the worst, by the way. If you look at that whole lineup, the worst
I
win
love the Tejas
WP which is
comment over
added.
here, guys. Sandeepani saved Danushka. And now people are gotten to understand that you hate Danushka Gunatilaka. You're like the biggest hater out there. And I think he's released on bail, isn't he? He's released on bail.
I have no idea.
See,
Actually, I've
I
not
used to
followed it.
hate
Sandeepani,
Gunatilaka's
you have to keep
batting.
a
Everybody
track
might not
on
have a
him.
very good idea.
You have to
See,
keep
see,
a track.
honestly, I
You
used to
hated him so
hate
much.
Gunatilaka as a
He got
player.
arrested for rape. He can't play cricket anymore. Look at that hate.
I mean, that's not my fault. I mean, I see from the game, I can't judge a
Yeah,
player's
just a
personality or
clarification
quality
there.
traits,
Yes,
right?
Abel Sandivani, Danushka Gunatilaka has been granted bail,
Yeah.
as far as I know. No, last year in November, he had
Can't
been
wait for the
granted.
biggest comeback in cricketing history, like
Yeah, yeah,
Undertaker.
yeah.
He's
I'm
gonna
sure.
Do you
come.
think he get a chance to play though?
Imagine he comes back like Undertaker, right from the grave. He's gonna just come in and take down all the ballers.
I for sure think that Gunatilaka is going to get a comeback for Sri Lanka because that is one of the most tolerant cricket boards that I've ever seen. And I mean, he might as well come and open and play another 20-30 T20Is at an average of 17 and a strike rate of 110. And we will just
I
have
mean,
to
we
come
also have
in
a
the post match
similar
and comment.
incident with Scott Kugelheim, isn't it? Because he also went through
Yeah.
something very similar. He
Yes.
came back to
Yes.
playing. I think KKR had him as net bowler as well. So I'm expecting Danushka Gunatilaka to be actually, backed in
No,
by
I think
KKR.
I think with the Sri Lankan favoritism with Rajasthan Royals right now, I think he's going to land in Rajasthan Royals if they're going to play,
I mean,
and
it's
probably get in
absolute
place
nonsense
of
if
the.
you're gonna-
And I
Guys,
think
it's
he'll do
absolutely
a better
nonsense. We're
job.
gonna talk one more word about Danushka Gunatilaka on the stream now.
And
It's-
I
it's-
think
that's it.
I think
I
He's
think
out of
he'll do a
the
better
game.
job.
Hypocritical, guys. We spoke about how we should be considering sports, and you guys have gone completely off the wire for 2 minutes from what.
no. I was just
Come on,
making a
Sandeep,
comparison.
let's lay out
I was just
Gunatilaka.
making a comparison between Devdutt Padikkal's batting today and how
And
Gunatilaka plays for Sri Lanka. I mean,
Let's
there are-
not.
Can we
Let's not
stop?
make it worse.
He has played one
Let's
good
not
knock
make it
against
worse.
India in the Champions Trophy, which made them win. So I'll take
But yeah,
that.
let's talk
I mean,
about.
so has
let's talk
Devdutt
about
Padikkal
cricket.
against Rajasthan
Let's
Royals
talk about
been
cricket,
itself.
Sandipani. Let's talk about the players who've played in this match. KL Rahul now once again another problem. Probably KL Rahul and in fact KL Rahul had a worse of strike rate than Padikkal. 39 of 32. Again he added, but although his positioning when he came into bat, you would reckon the WP that he reduced from LSU is a lot lesser, but still you reckon he could have played a little bit more faster. Or I think today's pitch though was a pitch where people like KL Rahul expected him to score at 120, 123, not more than that. So, but having said that, still KL Rahul is curbing a lot of his aggressive ability. In the power play, you want someone like KL Rahul to play a lot more aggressive. 37 and 6 overs, two less, isn't it, Abel?
No, I
I mean,
understand KL
I agree,
Rahul's
man.
way of going 39 of 32 because, like you said, that this was a pitch that called for a KL Rahul strike rate of 120. But what I don't understand
But
is
he also
Kyle
plays in
Myers
the
trying
power
to
play.
play like
Sandeep,
KL
that's
Rahul.
what baffles me, right? He also plays in the power play. It's not like he's coming after the power play. After the power
I mean,
play,
so is
120
Kyle
strike rate,
Mayers, right?
understandable.
I mean, so is Kyle Mayers, right? That coordination should be based on your openers, right? Who will take on the bowlers and who will play the defensive game, like we saw for Mumbai Indians yesterday. You see a Rohit Sharma trying to hit every ball out of the park, and you see a Ishan Kishan after the power play trying to slow down his strike rate or play a more defensive game. But with this Lucknow Super Giants team, even in the last game, they had a very slow opening partnership with both Kyle Mayers and KL Rahul. With KL Rahul, you come to expect of it because KL Rahul will play this sort of a knock and then probably accelerate towards the later end if he's there till the end. Otherwise, you'll just have a KL Rahul scoring 45 of 30, 35 or with a strike rate of 120, 130. But Kyle Mayers, on the other hand, he's your X factor player. You have other players in that batting order who can come in and make an impact. And I think Kyle Mayers is in the team to play at a strike rate of 150 and not KL Rahul. I think KL Rahul, the management, the franchise, everybody will back him to score a 40 of 32 deliveries and sort of take the game deep and then try to keep his wicket from one end. But Kyle Mayers, even though he scored a 50 or 41 deliveries, I think he did not do a good enough job to keep his position in the next game. This is 2 games in a row. Before that, he had 2 failures in a row. So the Kyle Mayers that we saw in the first 2 games have been missing after the first 2 games. I think it's the pressure of the spot coming into recognition, because he knows that one failure and Quinton de Kock walks straight back into this team. So I think we can blame a KL Rahul right now, but I think this is just his natural game. He's going to play at, if you play him at Ekana Sports City or at Savai Mansingh Stadium, he'll play a 120, 130 strike rate innings if he gets out in the 10 to 15 over mark. You can't expect
I agree.
anything better.
I agree with him completely,
Yeah, true
because
enough.
especially when it comes to this kind of a pitch, you don't really look at KL Rahul's strike rate. As I mentioned, in hindsight, maybe if they would have not crossed the line today, you could have said, okay, fine, that one maiden over which KL Rahul played is the major reason why it backfired for them. But now in a game like this is an ideal KL Rahul kind of a situation, and I think KL Rahul is much more suited to play in these kind of tougher surfaces, because on flatter surfaces he's more even. Those knocks are absolutely worth nothing. At least in these kind of
Yeah.
surfaces, you can say if they're chasing 150 odd or 130 odd, KL Rahul's 35 ball 40 odd knock or 35 ball 50 odd knock will come in handy even more as an impactful knock than what he would ideally play on flatter surfaces. So I think KL Rahul is a good player on tough surfaces, but not the best player at this point of stage on flatter surfaces. That's asked to a lot mentally more than what he is, because the ability as a player is immense. And that's why I personally think KL Rahul shouldn't open the batting. Once again, I can repeat, KL Rahul shouldn't be batting in power play or as an opener, because he's too good a player to be batting in number 4 in all formats.
Absolutely. Tejo also says that Kevin Peterson on commentary says that KL Rahul is the most boring player to watch in the power play. I
I
mean,
agree. I
KP,
heard that. I heard
you
that because
cannot restrict
he,
KP. That's the reason
at
why I
this
wanted
point of
KP.
stage, he's the most boring player. There is a given fact with KL Rahul that he's going to play out the first over, and you can
Yeah,
ball
yeah.
anybody in the first over. KL Rahul won't attack.
True. I think KL Rahul also seems like KL Rahul is stuck in 2008 Commonwealth Bank Series for some reason, because that's how cricket used to be played back then. The first over, you respect the bowler, you let the bowler settle in, and then you settle in as well, and then you play some classic cover drives through the onside. Maybe Brett Lee can go on and ball a few dot
I'm
deliveries, no
pretty
issues.
sure certain
Yeah.
commentators will be super happy about it. Wow, Kamal Lajwab Rahul. Wow, this is technique. This is what we were talking about. This is maturity. This is captain's knock. This is how we used to play in overcast conditions in 1982. This is why we call
But Abel,
temperament.
with Kamal Lajawab Rahul, you are not blaming any other commentator. You are just going after one.
No, I'm talking about one of many. I did take 5 commentators here. Guess who it is if you want.
Well, while you guys guess that in the comment section, I think Teju is absolutely right. I think KL, he genuinely has a capability to be an aggressive opening batter. It's just his mindset, right? And I think it's not just KL's fault. KL was a kind of a batter before he started playing for India. I think overall, as Indians, or rather as the Indian management, we've come to this conclusion, or we've been stuck in 2010, 11 for a long time. It's time we really move out of it and see that that's the reason why I like the way CSK is batting at this point in time. CSK has loaded their team with batters who can bat, and everyone goes hell for leather. I'm sorry, I'm really going up this, really smiling because it's CSK. CSK has done that job where I think probably I saw RCB do that as well for a while. Now they've kind of gotten stuck because they're worried about their middle order. KKR is well. That's what I expected when Ramanullah Gurbaz got in, but they haven't really done that. So that's where I really believe that CSK is the one team which is going hell for leather. Even Punjab has done once in a while when they believe they've got the pitch to do it. So I think that's the way to go. And obviously, England has set a huge. Well, that's the way, that's definitely the way to go. I believe when it comes to T20 cricket now. But I think one final then probably on how Rajasthan Royals, we've covered their batting and their strategy when it comes to it. But let's talk about their bowling, right? Someone like Yuzvendra Chahal going for 41 runs today. I believe that's the one thing that really got them, put them in trouble. Jason Holder as well, 38. But then I wouldn't blame Jason Holder as much as I would go after someone like Chahal, because this pitch was meant for a Yuzvendra Chahal. And then Shaurya has perfectly put his comment right there, that Chahal's spell was the difference. I believe giving 41 runs away in just 24 deliveries, that's pretty much another point that created a difference there. It was something like Ravichandran Ashwin, who bowled excellently today, showed that it was a pitch where spinners could bowl well. Even Ravi Bishnoi did a very good job. Amit Mishra did a very good job. The only one you could really say that did not, that really went for runs was Yuzvendra Chahal. By the way, I'm also very surprised that Amit Mishra only got 2 overs. But then when everything goes well for you, I think that's pretty much,
No, I think
it's to
Amit
given.
Mishra got only 2 overs because you had a
Yeah.
Marcus Stoinis come in and bowl those 4 overs. So
So
this
then-
sort of pitch is absolutely handmade or handcrafted for a Marcus Stoinis sort of a bowler who can come in those middle overs and absolutely choke the batters and give nothing
Yeah.
away. And I think that is where there was no intent. I think intent was the difference along with Chahal's spell. And also talking about Chahal, I am happy.
Yeah, Chahal. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think talking about Chahal, I'm happy that he went for 41 because he was at least trying to be aggressive. Well, Kyle Mills just took the attack on Chahal, and in the first 2 overs or first 3 overs, Chahal went for 36 in the first three. Then he came back and just considered 5 in the last over. But the damage was already done, and you can have these sort of days where a left-hander is going to line you up and then take the attack on you. What I really liked about Chahal was he was still trying to toss the ball up. He was still trying to be aggressive, and you can have to take. See, if you are really.
I feel that Chahal balled a little bit too much into the arc of
Yeah.
the.
I mean, I personally thought
of the
Chahal's
left-hander.
spell, he was trying to do a lot different than what he was usually doing. Yeah, understood there was a lot of help for the spinner, so he's trying to overdo it, which you don't do as a spinner. On surface,
No, but
it
I
helps
think
fast bowlers.
on days when we criticize Chahal for being defensive, I think today is a day we shouldn't really
Yeah,
go
I mean,
after Chahal.
yes,
Because
I
think,
agree to it, but at the same time,
But Sunny there's
today
also a
you
difference
could have
between
been
being
slightly more
aggressive.
different on wickets like this. If you're more slower, it doesn't really help you. You saw Bishnoi's pace. You saw Ashwin's pace today. I think on wickets which aid spin,
Yeah, but
you have
so
to be
that's the
slightly
reason why
more
even I
quicker.
like the comparison between Amit Mishra and Yuzvendra Chahal. Very similar bowlers. But what Amit Mishra was also looking for wickets, right? Granted, he did not get any, but he was still looking for wickets. What I really felt is a difference between being aggressive, trying to get wickets, and really, bowling to the batter's strength. You cannot expect to be bowling to the batter's strength and getting wickets. That doesn't work. That's the reason why it's their strength, quote unquote. You don't usually see a batter, really make mistakes when it's in his arc. Someone like Amit Mishra balled at fifth, fourth stump line, right? Or rather, I would even say that he balled a fifth and sixth stump line, where the ball was spinning into the at max, it was spinning into the off stump of the batter. Today, I felt Chahal was balling on the middle and leg stump. Doesn't work on a pitch like this because it's longer boundaries. Yes, one. Secondly, if you're bowling slow pace, there's also a chance the ball sits up a little bit.
Yeah,
So that's
I agree.
where, even though you do not have the pace, it's not like you can't bowl well. Amit Mishra did a very good job. So that's where I felt Chahal was a little balling much into the arc, and sometimes he even dropped the ball short, trying to ball fast.
and
Yeah, I think his
and I
length
also
also
feel
slightly on
for
shorter
Amit
side,
Mishra, you did not have a Kyle Mayer sort of a batsman who could take the attack on the bowlers. He was bowling to Sanju Samson and Butler, who was actually struggling today. We are talking about KL Rahul's knock of 39 of 32. Let's talk about Butler's knock of 40 of 41. I think that had a more negative impact on the game, but he was trying to take the game deep. So nobody is blaming Butler.
But
But
that's the whole point, right? When you're chasing and when you're setting a target, you should look at knocks very differently. And that's one thing I'll keep saying. Because you talk about milestones, people play for milestones, negative impact knocks. For example, if Virat Kohli scores a 45 ball 50 while chasing a total of 135, that's a good knock. But if Virat Kohli scores that if they are batting first, that is a negative impact knock. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I
So
think
especially
even
if
if you look
setting
at the
targets up, you
WPA
should
for
look into
this,
knocks differently.
even if you look at the WPA that for this, Josh Butler has still a lesser than what KL Rahul had, and I'll tell you the
Did you
reason
say
for that as well,
WPL?
because WPA rather. Sorry, my bad. WPA, which is
I'm
a bit
saying-
probability added. Absolutely my bad. Pretty much a KL Rahul from me there, but no take on KL Rahul. But Josh Butler, I felt, was still holding the innings together, right? When Yashasvi Jaiswal was going after the bowling, I felt someone like Butler. The idea also, right? When Ashwin in the post-match press conference came in, he said, "Play proper cricketing shots, and you'll get rewards on this pitch. It's
Yeah.
not a pitch for trying something extra." So that's where I felt Butler still did a decent job. That's where I also felt someone like KL Rahul could have been a better player than what he was today on this pitch. It was a pitch to play technical shots. Just, I don't think the issue with KL Rahul is the fact that he cannot play aggressive cricket. I think the issue with him is he's playing too much of a defensive cricket. I mean, Ajinkya Rahane is showing that you can play aggressive, you can play proper cricketing shots, and still score at a very good strike rate. He's striking at 195 this season. And KL Rahul is striking below 130. I don't think that's fair
I mean, it all comes down to mental side of things, Jen. It's not the ability or technical side of
yeah,
things. It's clear
exactly.
headspace, which Ajinkya Rahane is in, and which KL Rahul isn't in. And that's it. That's the bottom line of things. And I think we should not overanalyze, because we've been talking about this for the last 10 months and not been able to find an answer to that.
But at the end of the day, I think Gautam Gambhir today will be happy with what KL Rahul did for his team.
Yeah.
I think especially with the bowling changes over there and his captaincy, I think
His captaincy was good today. His captaincy was spot on
He
today.
redeemed himself
I think
with
where credit
whatever
is due,
he
we
had.
should credit him for that. His
Exactly,
captaincy was
exactly.
absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I
Absolutely,
think that was one of the more contributing factors towards this victory, because like you said, why Amit Mishra didn't bowl his quota of 4 overs, because he realized that in this pitch a Marcus Stoinis in the middle overs will be a better job in terms of restricting the run flow. And then you had 2 overs from Yudhvir which you needed to cover. That was covered by Amit Mishra. And let's talk about the impact where, I mean, Amit Mishra was the one who got Sanju Samson run out. So brilliant job from the 41-year-old. I think he has been brilliant on the
40?
field.
Is he?
40, 41, 41, 42.
Let me check.
Something. 41, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, I think, he's 41. Wait. No, okay. Wait, I got wrong. Amit Mishra there. It shows 81.
Me too.
Sorry.
I got the wrong Amit Mishra as well. Surprising that Amit Mishra is up ahead. Who is that?
Who's that guy?
Yeah. Anyway, Kerala Cricket Feed says Joss Hayton number Sanju in a Chadichu. Okay, what he's trying to say is that Joss Butler sold Sanju Samson down the river. No, I don't think so. I think Sanju Samson sold himself down the river for the sake of the match. First thing.
Yeah.
Secondly, I believe that was still a bad decision. Joss Butler had much more probability of reaching the crease than Sanju Samson. So that was a bit too much of overzealousness from Sanju Samson. If he had sent Butler back, they would have won the match. So that's where I felt Sanju overread the situation. No need to take that run. Butler would have easily.
You shouldn't have taken that single number one. I mean,
yeah, I can understand the call went wrong. But after that, deciding to go ahead when Butler was ready to go back, I don't know. Sanju had more to run than Butler. It did. Also, he says, Teju says if Hetmeyer gets out while RR chase, they will struggle this season. I think Hetmeyer kind of put himself under too much of pressure. I can understand why Teju Padikkal was on the other end. He can sometimes be the pressure cooker. And Hetmeyer needed to get a boundary. So it's not surprised he ended up playing that shot and got out. What I really felt today, that's why I feel maybe KKR, I mean, not KKR, RR could have tried to get in someone like a Donovan Ferreira. He could have.
We'll get to it when CSK
Very
plays
Mallu
KKR. I'll reply.
no,
I'll reply regarding that chair. I'll have an answer for that after the game between KKR and CSK.
No. I just meant chair as in by Matt. It's a very Mallu thing to do. Not anything against KKR. All I'm saying is Donovan Ferreira would have been a very good fit, I felt, in today's match. Because he's played in these kind of pitches, right? The sluggish pitches that we saw in SA20, and he's delivered before. So it would have been interesting to see how he would have done today. Teju says Sandeep Sharma underrated bowler for too long, and now has done a good job in place. I think there's something we need to talk about. Excellent recovery when it comes to his career from Sandeep Sharma. Lasith Malinga has been so huge when it comes to his death bowling resurgence. I think the one thing that really destroyed Sandeep Sharma's career was trying to make him a death bowler again. RR are doing it right this time because Malinga is teaching him the tricks of the trade, isn't it, Abel?
I mean, I agree with you totally on that because... Sorry, what?
I won't be giving it to Sandipani because he'll come after me. Anyway, yeah, Abel, go ahead.
I mean, Sandeep, I'll just have to say Sandeep is doing a phenomenal job. Personally, number one, working on a Malinga in itself is a huge thing, right? You're talking about one of the greatest ever death bowlers to have played the game of cricket, and the way in which he's developed so many bowlers, right? Just not Sandeep Sharma. He's developed Jasprit Bumrah for Team India, and that's the greatest blessing you could have ever asked for. So working under him, and Sandeep Sharma has got plethora of experience. I think he's the most underrated IPL bowler if you have to pick up in the history of bowlers, right? He's not. It does not come to you as the most expansive, most explosive a bowler who's going to come and bowl at 150 kilometers per hour. But then he's got traits like picking up Virat Kohli 6 times, swinging the ball in, taking the ball away. And he was one of the catalysts in winning the Under-19 World Cup in 2012 as well. If you look back, if you look down the years. So I personally think he's a phenomenal bowler, very I'd say he reminds me of similar of Praveen Kumar mold of a kind of a bowler. Not a lot of pace,
Yes.
very consistent with his line and lengths, and does not try to overdo things. And he understands the limitation very well, and he bowls according to that. And that's the best part about him. And he's a living testament to saying that if you have a good Yorker with you, it's the toughest ball to get away with. And that's one of the reasons why I have immense respect for him. I think this stint for Rajasthan Royals of having Sandeep Sharma with them is actually going to help them in some of the big games, because if there's a surface which is going to aid swing even a little bit, I think he's going to be extremely tough to play on, because he's going to swing the ball both the ways. And from the other end, you have Trent Bolt as well. So that opening burst of 6 overs from these two are going to be extremely tough on surfaces, which is going to aid swing a lot. But now, as of now, I personally think if at all, if Rajasthan will have to tinker a little bit, I really want to see Jason Holder out of the team, because they're not using him as a bowler pretty well. He's not a death bowler,
Yeah.
number one. And if you're not going to use him as a number 6 batter for this team, why do you have him on the team? He should be a number 6 batter in any other IPL team, but not this team. And you're sending in someone like a Dev the Patikal there. Come on, man. I mean, I personally think this game could have been finished if there was Jason Holder walking in, because he has done that too many times for West Indies, walking in tough situation and taking the team home. So
I'll be honest,
yeah,
the moment David Padikkal entered, right? I think they had some 62 to win or 65, 67 to win or 55. So even if Jason Holder struck at 120, 130 and Butler continued to play, I think the reason why Butler got out was because strike was farmed by Padikkal. He was playing two balls, he was playing 3 deliveries and then getting off strike, where he would only score 1 run of that 3 deliveries. So he was getting getting, Butler was getting stuck on one end when he was trying to get going. When Butler was batting, he was getting off strike on the first delivery. So I believe someone like Jason Holder had come in, he would have done the same thing. They could have just taken singles, taken the match deep, follow Dhoni's school of finishing. And at that point in time, if you taken singles for every delivery, you would have ended up at what? Probably 9, 10 runs to win. Granted, you would have gotten 1 boundary at least every third over or second over. I think even if they had 11 to win of 6, they would have finished the match, given the kind of power, the finishing power that was coming. And that's where I feel I agree with Abel. Take someone like a Jason Holder out if you're not giving him, if you're giving him 4 overs, but he's just, not really performing for you. Probably get in a batter like Donovan Ferreira. I think that's
yeah,
just the way.
that is possible. That is possible. That's quite a possibility. Maybe if you have to talk about, maybe in surfaces which is going to be really batting heavy, you can bring in Donovan Ferreira, because he's also going to offer you a lot with the ball.
Yeah.
Or on surface like Jaipur. Okay, talking about which I also did mention at the start of the live that we'll talk about surface. I don't think Rajasthan Royals should be playing any more games in these kind of surfaces, because it's going to definitely hamper their batting, because their batting is filled with stroke players: Sanju Samson, Josh Butler, Yashasvi Jaiswal, and Dev Padikkal also to an extent prefers playing on pitches where the ball comes down to the bat pretty well. And this pitch is going to be their biggest detriment. If they're going to play on surfaces which is going to be really slow and slow, that's going to be really backfiring them in the 5 games they're going to play here. Now 4 more games. So I hope they don't play there. I know the spinners will come into the picture, but the spinners' talent is too good that they'll come into picture on any other surfaces. As I mentioned about RCB as well, you don't try to nullify it, right? Because they have got the talent, especially when it comes to spin department. Now you're letting overseas or opposition team spinners also to come into the picture a lot more. So that's where I personally think they should be playing on flatter surfaces, which will really help their batting and that also means their spinner will overpower the opposition team spinners. So that's what I personally think about it.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I think it's pretty much it from us. We've covered almost everything. Now, tomorrow is surprisingly a double header. Don't know why
Yeah,
it's not
very
kept
cool.
on a Friday, on a random Thursday. It's a double header, but I don't know what to say. But it's going to be interesting to see how
Thursday.
tomorrow goes. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how tomorrow goes ahead. Sandipani's favorite KKR is going to be in action as well. But that's pretty much it from
RCB is
us for
also in
today.
action.
RCB is also in action. Sorry, Abel. Sorry. Tend to forget teams that don't win trophies. Yeah. So having said that, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And don't forget to play on Boom 11 app, because there's only victories there. There's never a loss on Boom 11.
Yeah,
Thank you so
guys.
much for
By
joining
the way,
us.
guys, do
And
check out the predictor feature. It's
yeah, of
absolutely
course.
live and going. I think it's a very interesting thing to try it out. If you're going to try a predictor feature, whereas you can win a lot of gifts. We've been tied up with a lot of partners throughout this IPL, so a lot of gifts are awaiting you. And also, just stay patient. There's some big announcements coming up in the coming days, which is going to really excite you people from India and subcontinent towards this part of the world, because that's going to really blow your mind as well. So just stay put. We are expanding ourselves into something very big. So that I'm just giving you a hint. So stay put, stay active with us, and we'll try to build a community going ahead as well. So a lot of things are waiting you. And join us for our preview tomorrow, where I'll be giving you fantasy tips. Where Sandeepani, hopefully, if he can join, he will, or else
No, I will
myself
not
have-
join, but I'll give the fantasy picks.
Yeah, he'll definitely give the fantasy picks. He works.
Even I
he
might
works.
not be joining either.
So
I'll be,
if by chance if your fantasy picks go wrong, you know whom to text. So not me, not
And
me.
also,
it's
if
that
it
guy.
goes right, you know whom to text.
Yeah,
yes.
more often than
And you
not,
know what? I'll be honest,
comes right.
Sandipani is one of the best when it comes to fantasy.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
Yeah,
He's this close of winning. Second prize.
You'll be, it'll not be
Pata hai kaun
surprising
kya?
if you see Sandipani on a Dream 11 app suddenly having won a car. Akash
We're not going to be
Chopra
talking
will be,
about those apps here.
or rather,
I'm
let's say
ending.
Boomer
I'm
11.
ending